I don't know if you saw it online, but there will be a new collaboration for Honkai Impact 3rd and Honkai Star Rail. If you do not know me, I am Simone, aka Gravity Cat on YouTube and Gravity Cat Live on Twitch. And this is my first video where I will try to only talk in English, so sorry if you see any mistakes or my pronunciation isn't the best. But I will do my best to explain why you should play Honkai Impact 3rd right now, because I saw a lot of people online talk about the game, but they do not know anything about the game. So they do not know the story, they do not know the characters, or even how it's like to play the game in 2024. So since I have been playing the game since 2021, if I remember correctly. Yes, because I started playing Genshin Impact on day one, and I got ported around the arrival of Inazuma. So I started watching online some trailers about Honkai Impact 3rd, mainly the animated shorts. So I found out about the characters, the story, and I saw a lot of things that I liked. I started playing the game without knowing too much about it. For the first 6 months, 7 months, I was playing the game without understanding anything, which was a very strange experience, because it's one of those games where you can play the game without understanding the story or the mechanics, even the gacha, and you can do a lot of things because the game offers a lot of events, or you can do the silly stories, the background stories of the characters, or even do the kinda end game stuff, because before you reach level 81 there is an end game in Honkai Impact 3rd, but it isn't really hard because it's something that you should play to get more clustered, but at the end of the day you need to arrive to the end of the game, which is level 88. But before level 88 you need to reach level 81, and you have to make a choice between doing the break or not doing. What is the break? Basically, it's a function that will enable the real end game. But before talking about all of this, let's try to introduce Honkai Impact 3rd, which is an action adventure game. It's a strange game because when I started playing the game, it reminds me a lot about Nier Automata, because there is some silly events, silly stuff inside the story, but the story itself is very, very deep, and the characters have grown so much since the start of the game. Also, this game was available globally since 2017, 2018, and the game changed a lot. Even right now you can see the main character of the first arc of the game, which is Kiana Kaslana, in the Airshare of Finality Battle Suite. This game is really important to me. It's one of those games that I see myself really attached to, because I play a lot of strange games in my life, between Drakengard, Nier Automata, or even some silly games on PS1, or even some strange stuff between Shadow of the Colossus, Echo. But whenever I see a game which lasts so long, like Honkai Impact 3rd or even Genshin Impact, what I want to see in this type of games is a really good story, or maybe not like a very good story, but I want to see the characters grow, because if the characters do not grow, the story is kind of the same, which was one of the main difficulty in Honkai Star Rail, because I don't know if you played that game, but I started playing since day one, and I didn't see much growth inside the characters before Penacony. So it's kind of strange to talk about another game from Hoyoverse, which is really old in comparison to Honkai Star Rail, but has a lot of growth, has a lot of main characters that change inside the story, which also they get new battle suits, new look. It's really, really unique in my opinion. But let's try to talk about the game. What Honkai Impact 3rd can offer to you today, because as you can see, there are a lot of challenge, story chapters, events that you can do. Also, there are some other stuff like Elysian Realm, Memorial Arena, Super Sin Dimension, which is the main end game of the game. But I don't really want to talk about this stuff because I've made a lot of videos about the Super Sin Dimension or Elysian Realm. This kind of content is made to try to get you inside the gacha. Okay, because if you go inside the gacha and if you pull the characters like Teresa, you will get a new character which is really strong, which can offer you a lot of damage, a lot of support, a lot of many stuff that you can use inside the combat. But the most unique thing you can do inside Honkai Impact Third is focus on the story, because there is a gacha. Of course, there is a gacha. You can pull for the characters. Also, this game has a guarantee character, so you will not lose the 50-50. But at the end of the day, the main important thing of Honkai Impact Third is the story, because the story is really well done. And as you can see, we have a lot of chapters inside the story, because we finished the first arc of the game, which is called The Moon's Origin and Finality, the first 35 chapters of the story. And this story lasted for 6 years, so it was really long. It has a lot of ups and downs inside the story, because not every chapter is the best. But if you focus on the overall story of the game, the world building, the lore, I think it's very good, even in comparison to Honkai Star Rail, which in this case I will only talk about Penacony, because that's the main story of Honkai Star Rail so far. Before Penacony, there wasn't really a very good story, in my opinion. And Genshin Impact also have a lot of story chapters, or arc conquest as they call it inside the game. But one thing that is missing in Genshin Impact is the character growth, because the story in Genshin Impact is focused not around Lumin or Aether, you know, the traveler, but is focused around the main story of the region. So Mondstadt, Inazuma, Liyue, or Natran in this case. So whenever you go to another region, you will meet a lot of new characters, and they will go to an adventure, they will try to grow, they will try to find a solution to our overall cataclysm problem that is involved on the region. So the main character, the traveler, is always in the background, which is very different in Honkai Impact Third, because the main characters are always involved in the story. What this means is that in the first arc of the story, there are some chapters which are focused on secondary characters like Fua or Sele or Durandal, but overall these characters are important in the story, because whenever the story needs this character, they will appear and they will do something with the other main cast of the characters, which is focused around the story of Kiana Kaslana, Raiden Mei, and Bronya Zajcik. This is the last version of this character, which are Kiana Kaslana, Archer of Finality, Raiden Mei, Archer of Origin, and Bronya Zajcik, Archer of Truth. But as you can see here, there are a lot of characters for these three main trio. So you see, this is the first version of Kiana, the first version of Raiden Mei, and the first version of Bronya. So since the story is always focused around these characters for the first arc, you will see different battle suits. So you will get something like this: Archer of the Void, Archer of Reason, Archer of Thunder, or even better, the Archer of La Mission. So this is why I really like the characters, or maybe the story overall, because you will not see the main character in the background doing strange stuff, and the main plot is around Mawika, Kinish, Mualani, and Kachina, which are very good characters in my opinion, but I want to see the story of Lumin, I want to see the story of Aether inside Genshin Impact, and I cannot see that besides the only story around Dainsleif that comes once per year. So it isn't very well done in my opinion. Not that the story isn't good, but I want more of this. So it's kind of strange that a very old game like Honkai Impact Third can offer you a very focused story. But as I told you before, the first arc of the game is done, is finished. So what are we doing right now inside the story of Honkai Impact Third? Well, basically there was another arc between part 1 and part 2, which is called Dance of Life and Death. This arc was around the characters of Sele and Fua, and maybe a little bit of Asher Sentience and other stuff. But this part of the story lasted for 6 chapters, so it wasn't very long. Right now we are in part 2, and we are at chapter 4, and there are new characters. Let me show you the new characters so far, which are Senadina, Coralie, Elia, and Dreamseeker, which isn't a new character, a new Valkyrie, because it's called an astral operator, as you can see right here. This is the main character of the part 2. So they try to create a bridge between part 1 and part 2, and you can see sometimes some character from part 1 inside part 2, but so far the story is around this character that I show you. If you really want to focus on the story, which is in my opinion the best part of the game, the story is really well done. It's literally the best story of Hoyoverse that can offer right now, because there are some really old games like Honkai Gauken 2, but this game isn't available worldwide, so even I cannot play it. But since Honkai Impact 3 is the oldest game that you can play globally of Hoyoverse, I guess you can find a lot of pleasure in playing it. So in my opinion, this is why you should play Honkai Impact 3, because the story lasted for so long. There are so many very well written characters like Yana, Raiden Mei, Bronya, or even the new characters like Dreamseeker or Lantern, Selema, Sonche. Even secondary characters I really like Einstein or Welt, which is a secondary character in Honkai Impact 3. But since I saw a lot of people playing Honkai Star Rail, and they saw this new collaboration between Honkai Impact 3 and Honkai Star Rail, which I also talked about in my recent videos, I only see people talking about Honkai Impact 3 without even knowing what is Honkai Impact 3 or what you can do inside the game. So what you should do, in my opinion, is to give Honkai Impact 3 a try. And this is a lot to ask, because whenever you see someone try to explain what is Honkai Impact 3, they will get a lot of views. And if this player or this creator has a very bad opinion and doesn't understand something about the game, is really bad, because what you get is a very different opinion. I saw like a very, I won't say large content creator, because it was around the 30k subscribers, and made a very notorious Honkai Impact 3 review, which was really bad. And I talked about this in like 3 videos. I was really concerned about it, because if you say that the game isn't really free to play, that the game is hard, you cannot understand the story of the game, or maybe that you have to pull all of the characters, because if you do not pull off the characters, you will not do anything inside the game, or even try to understand the connections, the world building, lore connections about Honkai Impact 3 and Honkai Star Rail, and maybe even Genshin, you will get a lot of ignorance opinions. So I cannot explain in details all of the connections about Honkai Star Rail, Honkai Impact 3 and Genshin Impact, and maybe even Zero Zone Zero if this game is connected in the Honkai verse. But I wanted to do my first video in English talking about a game that I like, a game that I've been playing since 2021, and a game that I will try to support with my videos in Italian, because there aren't many creators in Italy that follows the game and also that follows the story. I'm trying to do my best here, so as you can see, I try to explain what is unique about the game, what is unique about the story and the characters. Also, I can show you some gameplays, but there are a lot of videos in my YouTube channel where you can see me actually playing the game, actually try to explain the mods, the Super Steam Dimension, Memorial Arena, Elysian Realm, try to give you a little bit of guide. But I wanted to do this first video in English. Maybe I didn't do it so well because I didn't prepare a script for this video, but if you really want to play Honkai Impact 3rd, because of the collaboration between Honkai Impact 3rd and Honkai Star Rail, I think it's something you should do, because there is a lot of story, there is a lot of good characters, good events, very silly, funny events that you can play. Literally, there is an event right now in the story which you can play as a cube of Teresa, which is a character that is available right now in the game. Has a little bit of context, but you literally play as a cube inside the game. Do you really want to know more about it? Just play the game. But I think Honkai Impact 10 is a very good game. It's a game that will have a lot of future, in my opinion, because I saw some players or even content creators talking about the game and saying this is a game that is available since 2016 or 2017, so they will eventually close the servers, or they will delete the game, which is something that can happen, because every gacha, every game that you can see online that is connected to a server, eventually their server will be closed. It's something that I think we should all accept. But even though this game is around the 1% of Hoyoverse total revenue per year or even per month, it has a lot of players, in my opinion, and even though the game will not last so much, I have a lot of good memories about playing Honkai Impact 3rd, and maybe I will show you 2 examples of it, which are my art books. I don't know if you know the extensions of these, because they were available inside the game through an event, and basically you could get this for free, which is something that I did back in the day. And as you can see, this is the Honkai Impact 3rd art collection volume 1 and volume 2, which are really good because they focus around the story, around the animated shorts, around the trailers, and a lot of extra stuff that you can find in the game. So basically, since this game isn't very mainstream, as you can say, because it has a lot of players in my opinion, but it doesn't get like 60 millions of revenues every month, but it has a very focused player base, and Hoyoverse literally gives you something for free. And in my opinion, is very good. It's something you can get for playing this game, for supporting the game, which is a very free-to-play friendly, in my opinion, if you focus around only on the story. And there are a lot of things that I can say about the mechanics, the gacha, how you can play the characters and stuff like that, but I think that's all I want to say, because it's very difficult for me to actually focus on saying something in English, but in my opinion, you should totally play Honkai Impact 3rd because it's a very good game. It offers you a lot, and if there is a future of this game around Honkai Star Rail for the story, I do not know that, because we are already in a period where you can see some spoiler for the next chapters, and there is a connection between Honkai Star Rail and Honkai Impact 3rd inside the main story, so it's probably canon. But even besides Honkai Star Rail, this game offers you a lot. It offers you like 100 hours of content only of the story, and it's very well done. Is something you can also read online with all of the mangas, all of the graphic novels, all of the comics, and the animated shorts. So I think this game offers you a lot. And if you found out the extensions of this game only through Honkai Star Rail, try to play it, because if you play it, you will find something unique, something good about Honkai Impact 3rd.